So, I said in my previous video that I wanted to talk about another matter in regards to a threat of AI, and I said that it was, too much to go into in that video because I didn't want to split, you know, my direction, my focus in that video. Um, I'm seeing a lot in the news besides AI. Sorry, my nose is itching. I'm seeing a lot in the news about immortality. Now, there are so many discussions on immortality. There's, you know, you know, the ethical quandaries of resources and people who can live forever, and the disparity between the technology that will permit immortality and who's it going to be for, and will it be metered, will everyone have access to this technology or the ability to transcend human lifetime. And those are all important questions to ask in a world where immortality could potentially exist. Certainly, the question of inequality in terms of immortality and the allocation of resources, because even if a person who was rendered immortal no longer needed to eat or drink or breathe, there's still space. And I don't mean space as in, the final frontier space. I mean space as in we barely have enough housing as it is. And even if I no longer needed to eat or breathe or drink, I still like having my own space. I still like a domicile. Even if I no longer had to worry about exposure, frostbite. I don't relish the lack of privacy. But this video is not about that. I want to talk about a lot of people who are exploring digital immortality. We're talking about, technology facilitated through computational means. I recently played a video game called Cyberpunk 2077, and apologies for any who have not yet played it and are aspiring to play it. If you are going to play it, spoiler ahead, a major plot element of the entire game is the technology in a technology in the game called Relic, a chip which creates a digital engram of a person's psyche, and allows it to be stored for later transference to another host or vehicle. And I'm seeing some things in the news which, of course, I'm now blanking on while recording this video, but that they believe that immortality can be explored the same way in a practical, real sense. That we can copy a human's, brain and personality and intellect into a digital image, store it, and then later, process it into a new host mechanism, vehicle, body, what have you. I think this also touches on point I'm driving at. Also touches on things like um, teleportation, the Star Trek transporters, things like that. Because you have to ask. Sure, you can copy a. I could conceivably imagine technology advancing to a point where we could copy the brain, that we could copy all the aspects of an individual from the psyche's perspective. The psyche, the mind, the brain, the personality. But I believe that consciousness is not merely one's brain. I am, of course, referring to one's soul. And I'm aware that the concept of the soul is a thorny area for science, for technology, for it creates an existential question in terms of this topic, digital immortality. Because if you agree that you can create a digital image of an individual and then copy that image into another, either a cadaver body donor or a android automaton that is designed to receive a digital engram such as that, or some kind of digital vault that will allow a person to live on in the digital realm and then conduct their affairs from inside a digital world. But is consciousness only your mind? And I don't believe that alone constitutes consciousness. I believe that if you were to copy over someone's psychological engram, personality construct, what have you, it would be a artificial replication in every sense of the word. It would be imitation vanilla. It would be, I can't believe it's not a soul. Because I don't believe that a soul can be copied. I don't believe a soul can be transferred through technological means. I don't believe that the process or theoretical constructs of how such a process would be facilitated could ever account for or facilitate the transference of one's soul. And that, I think, has implications for the question of digital immortality. I don't believe that would be you. To other people who would be outside you, your friends, family, loved ones, whatever their own personal reflections on digital immortality might be, perhaps to them that android or what have you would manifest your mannerisms, your patterns of speech, your walking gait, everything. But is that you? People have talked about this in reference to the transporters on Star Trek, that you're creating a copy. The original is destroyed. There was a movie, The Prestige, I believe it was. And in it, Hugh Jackman's character plays a turn-of-the-century illusionist, magician, who approaches Nikola Tesla, played fabulously by David Bowie, to create for him a illusory stage device that will make him a illusionist magician superstar. And Nikola Tesla, in a naturally highly fictionalized role, succeeds and creates for him a device with the letter that is bequeathed to Hugh Jackman's character, urges him to destroy the device. And this device creates a copy of whatever goes into it. A living, breathing copy. And I mean, if it's an, inanimate object, comes out in an inanimate object. Top hat, rock, mug, whatever. A copy of a mug is made, and it's indistinguishable from the original. But Hugh Jackman goes into it, and out comes the second Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman at a point says, I don't want to give away so much of the movie or delve too much into it, but basically one of the copies obviously has to go bye-bye. And Hugh Jackman said, I never knew if I'm going to be the one that comes out, the other end or the copy. And I think that topic, that right there, does the copy have sentience? Does the copy have a soul? Whose soul is it? Who does that soul belong to? Whose consciousness is that? Is it his? Is it the copy's? Is he the original, the one that goes bye-bye? Or is the one who steps triumphantly out onto stage to demonstrate the mastery of the illusion he's just pulled off in front of his audience, is he the original? And I think that is a problem for those who would argue about digital immortality. Because I don't believe that you can so simply say that by creating a mere copy of a person's brain, you are successfully transferring the self. This creates such a huge philosophical quandary. What is the self? Ego, Freud, Carl Jung, Descartes, cogite ergo sum, je pense donc je le suis, I think therefore I am. I don't believe that we are merely the sum of our visible parts. That just because I think, therefore I exist, is sufficient enough to answer the question of, is my sentience alone enough to justify the sum of my mortal existence? Immortality, for all the problems it creates on so many other areas of questioning whether it should or shouldn't exist, I think we need to look carefully at the concept of the self and the soul and the impacts it has on the existential impact it has on one's identity, and the creation of a copy or transference of oneself into a digital form, or transference of yourself into another body because the one you have is dying or damaged beyond repair. There are many areas of technology that we're able to tackle today through the advancements of science and technology. And I think with AI, many things are possible. Quantum computing, many things are possible. But we have to be careful about how those discoveries are achieved and how they are disseminated to humanity, to humankind. Because I don't think that we as a species are ready to fully handle the responsibility that comes with a lot of these advancements. It's like giving a child a book of matches, or a loaded gun with the safety off, maybe is a more apropos metaphor. We have to be careful and ask the right questions